The world stood still as the Prince of Darkness took his final bow. Ozzy Osbourne, the godfather of heavy metal and a cultural icon whose voice and spirit defined generations, was laid to rest in a ceremony that transcended music, fame, and time. This was not just a funeral, it was a historic gathering of legends, a heartfelt farewell from a man who lived loud, wild, and unapologetically. The air was thick with grief, respect, and an unspoken understanding that an era had come to an end. The funeral took place at a private estate nestled deep in the English countryside, a place chosen for its intimacy and seclusion. Sharon Osbourne, Ozzy's wife and lifelong partner, led the procession with quiet dignity, flanked by their children Kelly and Jack. The family's grief was raw and palpable. Sharon, frail and tearful, gently placed a single purple rose on the coffin, a tribute to Ozzy's signature purple-tinted glasses. Jack carried a small urn close to his chest, symbolizing a part of his father's legacy. Outside the estate, fans gathered behind iron gates, holding candles and singing softly, desperate for a final glimpse of the man who had been a constant in their lives. The scene was surreal. Black SUVs and limousines lined the gravel path, carrying some of the most recognizable names in music, film, and pop culture. Security was tighter than at any award show, with helicopters buzzing overhead, scanning the perimeter. Inside, the atmosphere was heavy with emotion. The chapel was adorned with towering arrangements of white lilies, roses, and dark orchids, Ozzy's favorites. The mahogany coffin, draped in black silk embroidered with a silver bat, was carried down the aisle by 6 pallbearers handpicked by the family. Not a word was spoken as the crowd of mourners, dressed in black, took their seats on crimson velvet chairs. Among the attendees were rock royalty and cultural icons: Elton John, dressed in a custom black velvet suit with a blood-red lapel pin; Paul McCartney, arriving discreetly with his wife; Axl Rose, wearing his weathered leather jacket from Guns N' Roses' final European tour; and Slash, guitar strapped to his back like a silent offering. Hollywood stars also paid their respects. Johnny Depp, Robert Downey Jr., Marilyn Manson, Lady Gaga, and Dave Grohl were all present, their faces somber and reflective. The ceremony was marked by moments of profound musical tribute. Metallica's James Hetfield, joined by Dave Grohl, Zakk Wylde and Eric Clapton, performed a haunting acoustic rendition of No More Tears. The stripped-down performance, free of pyrotechnics or distortion, channeled the raw pain and respect felt by those on stage and in the audience. A gospel choir, carefully chosen by Sharon, sang emotional ballads like Mama I'm Coming Home, bringing many to tears. A large screen displayed never-before-seen footage of Ozzy's private life, tender moments with Sharon, laughter with his grandchildren, and quiet walks in the garden behind the family home. These glimpses revealed the man behind the legend, a family man who found peace amid the chaos of his rockstar life. One of the most moving moments came when Sir Anthony Hopkins, a longtime friend and admirer, stepped to the lectern. His calm, deliberate voice echoed through the chapel as he honored Ozzy not just as a man, but as a force of nature. "We don't mourn a man today. We honor a storm, a force of nature who thundered through our lives and left us breathless," Hopkins said, earning a rare standing ovation from the crowd of proud, often stoic legends. After the ceremony, guests moved to a private reception under an open-air tent filled with personal memorabilia: Ozzy's first stage jacket, framed vinyl records from Black Sabbath's early days, and letters from fans worldwide. Each guest received a small vial of dirt from Birmingham, Ozzy's hometown, engraved with the words, "Still rooted, still roaring." This symbolic gesture connected the global icons back to the humble beginnings that shaped the Prince of Darkness. Outside, fans remained long after the funeral ended, holding candles and singing softly into the night. Many wore vintage tour shirts, others dressed in black with eyeliner streaked by tears. The city of Birmingham became an open-air cathedral, with thousands gathering in silence to honor their hometown hero. Landmarks across the world dimmed their lights in tribute, from Los Angeles to London, and even Tokyo, where a busker stopped his performance to play a tear-streaked version of Crazy Train. Social media exploded with heartfelt tributes. Fellow musicians posted simple, powerful messages. James Hetfield wrote, "There'd be no us without him," while Slash shared, "The loudest silence I've ever felt." Fans flooded timelines with memories of their first concerts, the vinyl albums passed down from parents, and the unforgettable scream that marked the start of every show. Fashion designers and stylists also paid homage, sharing unseen images of Ozzy's stage wear and launching limited collections inspired by his glam metal style. Profits from these collections were pledged to mental health charities, honoring Ozzy's openness about his personal struggles. The music industry itself paused to reflect. Radio stations played Ozzy's songs non-stop for hours, and record labels postponed announcements out of respect. News outlets revisited interviews that revealed the thoughtful, almost prophetic man beneath the eyeliner and wild persona. Ozzy's own words resonated deeply: "If I made just one person feel less alone, then I did more than I ever hoped." Throughout the evening, Sharon Osbourne remained a pillar of strength. She arranged for ambient audio recordings from Ozzy's rehearsals and private moments to play during the reception, filling the room with his laughter, sarcasm, and unmistakable voice. It was as if he was still there, watching and listening. The final act of the evening was a solemn candlelight ceremony in the garden, beneath an obsidian sky. Guests followed the family to a massive iron sculpture of a winged bat, perched above the Black Sabbath logo carved in stone. One by one, they placed their candles at the base while Sharon lit an eternal flame at the center. A choir returned to sing a whispered version of Changes, carried softly by the wind. This moment needed no applause, no cameras, no hashtags. It stood pure and raw, a symbol of a fire that would never go out. As the estate faded into quiet stillness, the world outside was anything but silent. Ozzy Osbourne's roar echoed across continents, generations, and genres. His legacy was not just in the music he made but in the lives he touched, the barriers he broke, and the spirit of rebellion and resilience he embodied. Ozzy Osbourne didn't go quietly. He went exactly as he lived, with the whole world watching, crying, screaming, and somehow smiling through the tears.